Three of the four of the meetings are coming from this book by Patrick Lencioni, Death by Meeting. And the quote that we read earlier is from this book. And so he wants to make sure that we have purposeful meetings and that we're not having meetings just to have them. And so we will talk about those four operating mechanisms. So our learning objectives today, let me see, Gisela, will you please read our learning objectives for today?
Yes, sure. Hi,
Thank you.
everyone. It says define operating mechanisms and their purpose in team leadership and management, and also to identify the key elements of the four standard meetings used at PLA to huddle, tactical, check-in, and strategy.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So we will be focusing on these four: a huddle, tactical, check-in, and strategy. All right. So what are operating mechanisms? They are consistent meetings, systems, or practices with a clear purpose that allows leaders to achieve outcomes. And when they're done well, these meetings are consistent, same time, location, each day, week, month. They occur regardless of who can attend. They're efficient, impactful, and they have a clear structure and roles. And so we're going to talk about these because we want to make sure that, again, we are having purposeful meetings that are impactful and are efficient and allow us to be able to achieve the goals that we have set out to achieve. All right. As you look at this graphic here, what do you think it's referring to? What do you think when you see this? What do you think about?
I would say that you don't want to be too far to the left or too far to the right. You want to find a good balance somewhere in
Exactly.
the middle.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you, Tahira. So we talked about it earlier in that quote that Tiffany read, right? You need meetings to be able to communicate, to be able to talk to one another and ensure that we're all on the same page. But if we have too few operating mechanisms, then we might be all misaligned and not, all rowing in the same direction. Now, on the opposite side, though, if we have too many operating mechanisms, how are we going to get the work done that we need to get done, right? And so we all have our own individual goals. We also have team goals, right? And we need to work together as a team to achieve those goals. However, we also need the time for us. So it's finding that balance that's going to help us be able to communicate effectively with the team, but also allow us the time to get the work done that we need to get done. All right. So one of our core ideas is if you leave something to chance, it probably won't happen. And so operating mechanisms help you lock in the most important actions that a lead team member can take. And so as if you're here as a manager, one of the things that you will do is you will lock in these operating mechanisms for your team to ensure that these happen and allows you to be productive in the work that you're working with, accomplishing with your team. All right, let's find out let's learn about these four operating mechanisms. So they are done at different time sequences. So the morning huddle takes place daily. And we'll talk about that first. Then we have two operating mechanisms that take place weekly, the check-in with the manager and the tactical meeting, and then one that takes place monthly. How many of you, and you can put it in the chat, raise your hand, are doing some of these operating mechanisms already? And share with us what you are already doing.
Our team actually does all of them already.
Nice.
From enrollment as well as operations. So Javi is on here. So, when I came into the organization, this was just kind of a thing. And even when I train my new hires, this
Yes.
is a part of our training mechanism. So the
Yes.
huddles, the weekly check-ins or tactical, I do those. And we try to do a quarterly strategy meeting, although lately strategy seems to be every week, but yeah, we're already
Depending on the season, right? When you have things
Right,
coming up,
right,
right?
right.
Yeah, awesome. Well, that's so great to hear, Tiffany. I love that. Anybody else already participating in these meetings on a cadence? If you aren't, that's okay. That's why you're here, to learn about them, and hopefully you'll see the benefit of these meetings and you'll begin to incorporate them into your week and month. All right, so the first one, a quick description of it is it's a daily morning huddle. This takes place every morning, just takes 5 to 10 minutes. And you share your daily schedule, your activities and priorities. And one of the important ideas is that even if someone is not getting on, like your manager, you still continue to have it. So let me have Kimberly, will you read for us this information about a daily huddle?
Yes. So the purpose is to ensure the team is aligned on the day's priorities and objectives, share critical announcements, hold each other accountable for work products. Should take about 5 to 10 minutes, could be in person or remote. Each team member shares what they have going on for the day, as well as their top priorities and measurable outcomes for the day.
Awesome. And so this is a really quick meeting, 5 to 10 minutes, but it's so powerful because you get to hear from your team member what their priorities are for today and what meetings they have scheduled that and activities that they're working on. And that allows you maybe to be able to jump in and collaborate with each other when you hear something that might be that you might be able to assist with, or you might be able to give some tips or some information. But it also allows you to know that your team member is also working hard each day to work towards the bigger picture, which is your team goals and your team priorities that you're working towards achieving. So like today, my meetings were easy. I did an ALER training today, and then I have this operating mechanisms training today. So those are two of my activities that took place today. But my priorities were to begin to review again the monthly principal training and ensure that there's enough engagement activities in it. And so I shared that today on our daily huddle. And then it'll spur like questions. So my manager, Joanne, is like, oh, remind me, what's the topic for the principal monthly huddle, right? And so we just then might have questions, or she might suggest something, or whatever the case may be. If we need longer, let's say, Kimberly heard something that I said and she's like, you know what, I really would like to talk further with you about it. Kimberly might say, hey, after the huddle, Lisa, you want to stay on a few more minutes just so I'd love to share something with you. I heard something that you said and I'd love to share, talk to you about it. And so it's just a great way to just know what each of us are up to for the day, what our priorities are, what our meetings and activities are. And it allows us to be able to just see how our team is working together to achieve those goals. Any thoughts or questions about the huddle, or anybody want to share how it goes for them, if you already do it?
I'll share. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Hi, Javi.
Hello. So our team, the ops team, we do the huddle every morning, every single day at a set time. What's great about the huddle too is if somebody's in a meeting or conflicting, they just, chat them in our team chat. So everybody's still aware. And there's days where we know we're out in the field or we're busy, and just like clockwork, everybody just chats their priorities in our group chat in lieu of the meeting, but we're pretty consistent.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a great point. We do the same thing. If for some reason, I think on Monday, Joanne was like, I was the only one on. Here are my priorities and stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I was working and lost track of time. So then I put my priorities, Arlene puts hers, Charmaine. There's some days that we're just all off. So we all put it in the chat, but we have it every morning consistently at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and everybody knows. And so we join and we are able to do that. So just like you shared, thank you, Javi. Anybody else? I really, really do like it to be able to know what my team is working on and if I can support in any way, especially as a manager, right? And so as a manager, you're knowing what your direct reports are working on, and it just helps you to be there to support them because it's important for your team to know that you're there to support them. And this is a great opportunity to show them that. All right, so this is our first one, and this is the one we do daily. We have two that we do weekly. The first one is a weekly tactical, which should take place 45 to 90 minutes, where you review weekly activities, metrics, you resolve tactical obstacles and issues. Typically, we don't set the agenda until after initial reporting. And we definitely postpone strategic discussions, and those are discussions that might take more than 15 to 20 minutes. And so that could become a strategy meeting where you need more time to really delve in. And then the weekly check-in, I have here an hour, but it could be from 30 minutes to an hour. You discuss, analyze data, review goals, discuss priorities. And it's a great one-on-one time with the manager and the direct report. All right, so let's start off with the weekly tactical. Tara, will you read to us, for us, what a weekly tactical is?
Was that for me, for Tahira?
Sure, Tahira, you can do it. Thank you.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay, purpose. Discuss progress towards goals, review data, share weekly priorities, and align calendars. Discuss important short-term topics.
Mhm.
The length of, the length
Yeah,
of
keep
time,
going.
60 to 90 minutes. Location, Zoom or in person. Structure, lightning round, 1-minute updates on weekly priorities. Data review, each person shares relevant data. Real-time agenda, participants and agenda items based off of data and priorities. And review next steps based off of real-time agenda.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. Thank you for sharing that. A weekly tactical is extremely important for a team to have. Here's the structure that is provided in the book. You don't have to have the same structure. We do follow this structure and we really love it. And Arlene will put a template in the chat for you. This is what our weekly tactical template looks like. And so here is where we do the 1-minute updates. And so everyone puts their information here. We also do a mood meter, and I'll show you our example. We have our meetings every Tuesday, 10:30 to 12 Central Standard Time. And we just had one yesterday, and so I'll show you our meeting from yesterday. We also have a rotation of facilitator, note taker, and timekeeper. And so the facilitator will go over that. We look at our priorities from the week before and make sure that we've finished them. So we're holding each other accountable to them, that we've actually done them. And if not, we talk about why. And so we actually color code them in green, yellow, or red, determining where we're at. We look at the data, and I'll show you that, and then we create a real-time agenda and we discuss the agenda items. And so here is where we put our agenda items, and one of our standing agenda items always is teacher training requests, because that's a big part of what we do. And so that's always on the agenda, and then we add other items. And so let me go and show you what our template looks like. I don't think I have it up, so let me pull it up. All right, so 4-1, we just had it, right? So here is our priorities for the week, what we're focusing on, and we do the mood meter. And in the template, you'll see a mood meter, so you can use it if you choose to. We have our facilitation, so we've been using this document for, this is I think our 3rd year, right, Arlene, that we're
Yeah.
using it. We just keep adding tabs. And so like this past week, I was the facilitator, Charmaine was the note taker, and Arlene was the timer. We do our data review. And so our dashboard is here. And so it's locked right now. I think Charmaine locked it so we wouldn't have so many. But this is the data that we look at. And so we do it every single week and talk about it. And then we go and put our agenda. I'm sorry. We also go back and I was out in the hospital, and then was ill, and then Charmaine was out traveling. And so when you only have two people, it's kind of hard to have a tactical. So we say don't cancel, but every so often it happens where we have to, but we go back and so we look. So like this was our last, these were our next steps. And so that we go through them and they were in green. From our meeting this week, we have a lot of next steps. So we had a lot of agenda items that we talked about, and we have a lot of next steps. And so as we do them, we will, we try to highlight in green if we've completed it. It goes to yellow if not, and it stays in this red if we have not accomplished it yet, but we'll go over it during our next meeting. And so, and here's the format right here written for you. And so we create the real-time agenda, we discuss them, and then we review next steps. And so it really is a great time to be able to get together and talk about things that you're working on towards your goals. And so like right now, this season is important for us. We have Summer Advantage, so it's always on the agenda every week for the spring, also New Teacher Institute and Leader Institute. And so we always have that on the agenda, and we talk about those because it's cyclical work, right? And so I can imagine with operations, the same thing. There's certain topics in certain seasons that you need to talk about every single week, and then others that come up. Questions about this tactical? Arlene, you want to give a testimonial about our tacticals and how you feel they are important to the work that we do?
Well, I think because we work with so many different departments, it helps us to keep track of our work. I can't see us really getting our work done without something like this to keep us organized.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. All right. Other thoughts? Anybody else? Do you have a weekly tactical, and is it similar to a weekly meeting? Is it similar to what you see here and what you do? And how does it help you be more purposeful as a team?
Hi, I'm Gisela. I'm part of the finance committee. So we do have a weekly tactical. And yeah, I do find it very useful because sometimes we are under the impression someone could assist us with something. But when we talk all as a team, then we realize, oh no, this person could actually help me gather this information. Or there's people with more experience, they've been here longer. So they have more experience to share with us. So yes, I definitely find it really helpful.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Gisela, for sharing that. I love our meetings. I mean, they're so purposeful, and we always get so much done and discussed in a short amount of time, but they're so purposeful, right? We don't meet just to meet. And sometimes, I mean, we're scheduled for an hour and a half, but sometimes we finish in an hour. Sometimes we finish in 45 minutes. It just depends on what the topics are and how much we have to discuss. But we do not extend it to the full 90 minutes just because we use the time as we need it, and do not, waste just time for each other because it's there on the calendar. So awesome. All right, the second one that we have weekly is the weekly check-in. Max, will you read this for us?
Sure. Purpose: ensure manager direct report have weekly touch point. It's 45 to 60 minutes on Zoom or the phone. And the structure is the direct report facilitates meetings and the meeting and completes check-in document that includes two-way feedback and self-assessment, progress towards goals with outcomes, causes, and solutions identified, and issues of concern, topics, requests.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Max. A weekly check-in is a one-on-one that you have with your manager or a manager with their direct report. And it's such an important opportunity to really get to dive into the work that your direct report is doing, or you if you're the direct report, and that time to be able to connect with your manager to just discuss anything that you have questions about. As a manager, it shows your direct report that your time is important to that you are important to them, and because they have set this weekly time every week to be able to meet one-on-one with you. So like Arlene's my direct report. We meet every Friday at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. That's our time. I meet with Charmaine every Thursday at 9:30 Central Standard Time. I mean, that is our set time. Sometimes I have to reschedule because a meeting comes up that I need to attend. But I very, very, very rarely cancel. I'll just reschedule to a different time because it's important to show that your direct report's important to you. And you know, they're doing work and sometimes they need a thought partner, someone who can just listen and be able to give them thoughts. I love my weekly check-in with Joanne. We have it every Friday, I'm sorry, at 11 Central Standard Time. And she's such a great thought partner. And when I have a question or I need something, you know, she's there to listen to me. And I have her dedicated attention during that time. And so it's important that you have that with your manager every single week. Any thoughts? How many of you have a weekly one-on-one with your manager? And if so, how, you know, is this time beneficial to you?
I'll have a quick testimony. Tiffany's no longer on our team, and we still have a one-on-one
I
check-in like
still
a
have
year
my
later.
one-on-one check-in. Yes.
Wow. I love it. Yeah. It's so important to be able to have that time with each other, right? And it's going to have you be more successful because you're collaborating with your manager and ensuring that you're on the right track. You don't want to be off track, right? So having that time to talk to your manager allows you to figure out, am I on track to what I'm supposed to be doing or not? And if not, they're going to help you, right? This is a really important time to just connect and help each other out. Yeah. Any other testimonies or anything from someone?
This is my favorite meeting because Lisa is vigilant about it. Even if we can't make it, she immediately reschedules. It's never a cancellation and nothing. It's almost, okay, let's set another date. So
Yeah.
immediately, yeah.
Yeah, it's so important to just be one-on-one always with our team, right? And that way we can look at our goals, ensure that we're looking at priorities for the week, what's upcoming, you know, help them make sure that they're on point. What, you know, if there's something they have to do, we can talk about it and collaborate. You know, Arlene, I learn as much from her as she learns from me, right? We're like, oh, that's a great idea. So let's work on that, right? And so much can happen during that one-on-one. And if we were only just doing the weekly tactical, there wouldn't be that opportunity to really just dig into what the work that Arlene is doing, because the work that Arlene is doing is very different than the work that Charmaine is doing and the work that Joanne is doing and the work that I am doing, right? And so we need to be able to have that time.
I was going to add, I absolutely enjoy doing the check-ins with my team. I think for me as a supervisor, it is getting harder because my team is so large. And for me to have 45 to 60 minutes of a team of 12 people is oftentimes a challenge for me. So I've had to modify it so I can't really do an hour unless I absolutely need to do an hour. So I space mine out with, doing 30 minutes. And so I will do 30, but now that I have an associate director, he does individual time with them for 30. So they're still getting their hour. We just separate the time so that they have uninterrupted time with me, but they also have him as a thought partner as well. So that so they're still getting it, but it's just, when I have so many people, it's a little bit more challenging to be undivided.
Smart, Tiffany. You brought up a great point. We have to be flexible, right? When you have a huge team, you need to make it 30 minutes. You can't do 30 minutes with an hour with 12 people, and then also have all the time that you need to do your own work, have your weekly tactical. No, so very smart. And so that's why, it really should say 30 to 60 minutes. It just depends on how many employees you have and the work that you're doing, right? And so very smart. I'm glad you brought that up. And then at some point, if your team just keeps getting larger and larger, you may have to rethink who has it. Like you just talked about, they have it with me and with the associate. director, right? And so you've got to just think about how should I structure my team so that way the time that we have together is purposeful, but we still they're still getting some time with me and or somebody else, right? And so great feedback there. I love it. All right, so our last meeting is a monthly meeting, and this is a strategic meeting that's 60 minutes to 2 hours, depending on, the topic and how much time you need. We do many of ours are 90 minutes when we have ours. It's a great time to discuss, analyze, brainstorm, and decide upon critical issues that are affecting your long-term success. And you try to limit it to 1 or 2 topics and prepare to do the research and engage in good conflict. I know on our team, we do 1 topic each time. We just find it better to focus in on that 1 topic for 90 minutes, but that means sometimes we have 2 strategy meetings a month, depending on what the season is, right? And so let's discuss what that meeting is all about. Javi, will you read for us about the strategy meeting?
Okay. The purpose to discuss broad, long-term strategic issues, challenges, and identify strategic solutions, length 60 to 120 minutes, location in Zoom or in person if feasible. Structure, you have a facilitator, owner of strategy sends pre-work to participants. The facilitator or owner of strategy designs the agenda, a protocol for the meeting based on the topic, and the facilitator invites the appropriate members of additional teams if needed or as needed.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, it's not just enough to have a strategy meeting with my team. I need to invite somebody from maybe the academic team or the marketing team and or the human resources team or operations, right? It just depends on what topic we are discussing. And so we have our monthly meetings. We just we do them on our tactical document. And so they're all down here. We just have different tabs. And so our most recent one we had was our 2025 NTI strategy meeting. And so the tab is here. What I like to do is we use what's called the kind of like the RASI, who is responsible, when is it due, what is the task that we're doing, who's going to approve it, and we do that here. And so we try to divide into different things, and we highlight as we do things in green. And so here's a New Teacher Institute. We started off with, our dates and our schedule. We tried to dive in, sessions and slide deck. We've been working on that, train the trainer, logistics, registration, communication. So I came up with all of these topics ahead of time so people would know what we're going to be focusing on. And then we dug in and we talked about all of them and tried to break it out and just really dig in deep and tried to think of everything that was needed for each different part. It helps that we've done it before so we can rely on past, right? But sometimes we're doing new work, right? And so we look at this every single week in our tactical to see what we've done and where we're at, because it's our season, right? And so it's a standing agenda item, even though we started as a strategy, and then every week we look at it because we have we have to get this done and ready for the summer. And so that's how we do our strategy meetings. And we put them down here at the bottom and we look at them and add them all here. And so we'll find them. Some of them are hidden, so we hide them because this is our 3rd year with this document, so you can't see them all, but we hide them here and we just pull them up as we need. So yeah, thoughts on the strategy meeting? Gisela, do y'all have strategy meetings in finance to dig in deeper to some things?
Not that I can, no, it's just, I guess, as needed. Yeah, for a special project or things like that.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, and it could be as needed, right? For us, we have so much, I guess, cyclical work and then new things that come up. So like sometimes from the data, we may come up with a strategy meeting. So like new teacher retention, it's really low right now. It's at 69%. And we're like, okay, that's just so low. So we had a strategy meeting and we were looking at like, what can we do? And so we're brainstorming. Of course, then we go and talk to Andrea about it and see what, her thoughts are. And we commit to just talking about it because the data was like, wow, we don't want to lose that many, teachers every year. We want to keep them and retain them. So we had a strategy meeting about that and we've continued to talk about that. And so the data could lead you to hold a strategy meeting because something is just not working, right? And of course, any time you have a meeting with your one-on-one, your weekly tactical or your one-on-one, something may come up and you really need to dig a little more into it. And so this is a good time to have a strategy meeting. All right. Any thoughts or other questions about the strategy meeting and the purpose of it? All right, so we have gone over four operating mechanisms that we would like all teams to use here at PLA. We have the daily one, which is our huddle. We have two weekly ones, which is our go back to them, our weekly tactical and our weekly check-in. And then we have our monthly one, which is our monthly strategy meeting. Sorry, my computer is working super slow. And so we have them here as a refresher. And so I want you to remember that these meetings are only as good as the team, engaging in them. And so it's going to be really important that we all work together to engage in these meetings. So that way we are experiencing productivity and success towards our goals. All right. I want to review there we go. Thank you. It's just going so slow for me. I want to make sure that we review again our core ideas. If you leave something to chance, it's probably not going to happen. And so as we think about this, if you are a manager and these meetings are not happening yet, and you've just found out about them, as a manager, you want to make sure that you're setting these up and inviting your team to participate in them. You want to lock them in so that way you are ensuring that this is important action that your team is going to take to experience success. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes and I want you to reflect on these questions. So I want you to reflect back on the different meetings in this session and take the time to determine when, if you are a manager, when you'll add them to your calendar and begin implementation. And if you already have these meetings, how can you improve them based on what we talked about? And how can you invest others in these meetings? So I'm going to give you 2 minutes to think about that and we'll have you share out, or a minute and a half. Yeah, think about these questions and we'll come back and talk about them.
Did you say Tiara?
No, we're just having you silently think about these questions and then we'll reflect together in a little bit.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Javi, you're already having these meetings. Is there any way that, based on what we talked about, that you can think about maybe something different you might do to improve them? Or do you think they're going well?
No, yeah, absolutely. We're using all components of the meetings. I do think my reflection is when you said earlier inviting others, we
Mhm.
haven't done that. You know, one of the things I think I can get better at is if, you know, we're looking at redefining the role of an ops manager,
Mhm.
inviting some of our stakeholders. Usually it's just our group, and then I share with Eva or with Andrea, but you know, having them being part of the process is like my takeaway, inviting others with some of the things that we're doing.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Max, any reflections on your part?
Yeah, I like we do our cadence is a little different right now, and so just thinking about how to add these, we don't do it daily, but we use Google Chat a lot, kind of for the same purpose. But I like the idea of just having um the set time, and then we do. I would say our weeklies are kind of a combination of the strategy and tactical. But I like the templates and the delineation of those. So thinking about that change, and then similarly, we have quarterly strategies instead of monthly.
Mhm.
But to Javi's point, I do like the idea of um, if we increase the frequency of the monthly strategies instead of quarterly, that does allow us to possibly invite other people and kind of expand
Mm.
on that. So yeah, so slightly different than what we're doing, but I appreciate all the templates. I think they make a lot of sense.
Great. Thank you, Max. If you're a manager, you're going to determine when you'll have these meetings. You'll invite your team to the meetings and provide rationale for your team as to the purpose of the meetings, right? It's going to be important that they understand. Again, we want them to make sure that they understand why we are having these meetings, because we don't want them going in thinking, oh, another meeting and it's just going to be me wasting time when I could be doing something else, right? And so make sure that you provide the rationale. And then if you're a non-manager and you're a direct report, be open to the uncomfortableness, as it's a new operating mechanism for your team, right? Engage in the meetings and be patient with your manager, because it's something new that you're working to improve. And you can help in that by engaging in the meetings. All right, and that is it. And so we have a survey here, and there's some questions in there about asking about the meetings that the organization would like to just get an idea of where we're at in implementation of these meetings. So we ask that you please fill out this survey, and it'll give us some information that we can share with the senior team. But also just want to let you know, like, if you would like to observe one of our meetings or would like me to come and facilitate a meeting to just support y'all, just reach out. And that's what we're here for, to be able to help y'all with this. And so let us know and reach out to us for that. And so Arlene has put the survey in the chat. And so please fill that out. And we appreciate your engagement and your time joining us in this meeting. Any thoughts, last thoughts, or questions from anyone? Okay, well, we hope that you have a great rest of your Wednesday and enjoy the rest of your week. And if you need anything, please do not hesitate to reach out. Thank you all.